Welcome to the Video Lab Live Show, your interactive live stream about video specific marketing and online video content. Today, we're talking with a full-time YouTuber about YouTube. Oh, my volume is on my other computer over here, so you might have heard a little bit of an echo. Well, at least I know those streams are working. Well, this live show is interactive, which means at any point you can jump into the comments or chat and bring your questions or input to the show. And let's start getting that chat section warmed up just a little bit. Get those fingers warmed up. Jump into the chat, say hi, and let me know where you're watching from. Two things. That's it. Say hi and let me know where you're watching from. Now, I talk with people all the time on a regular basis about how they know they should be using YouTube. They listen to podcasts and experts in their niche or their industry that say they need to be on YouTube. Now I'm talking about like real estate agents, financial experts, fitness instructors, industry coaches. They all know that they need to be on YouTube. That's what they're told with other experts in the industry. But then it's followed up by this, ready? How do I grow on YouTube? So maybe that's you. Maybe you've kind of experienced these same questions. That's what we're talking about today. And I have guest expert Emily Lowry on the show, and she is now full-time making YouTube content on her channel, Micro Four Nerds. We'll hear about her journey on YouTube, like the turning point for her growth to over 53,000 subscribers, how she plans out content, maybe some analytics that she watches, and a ton of other great nuggets about growing on YouTube. And towards the end of this episode, Emily is going to give her one thing. If you don't get anything else from this entire episode, Emily's one thing is something you're not going to want to miss. Now, if you don't know me, my name is Caleb, and I'm a video educator and video creator and founder of the Video Lab, which is fully video education, like this show, fully video production for social media and website videos, and a video studio for content creators who need to make simple, quick turnaround video content. Make sure you follow and subscribe to all of the links, the Video Lab links, socials down in the description. I've got them all there so that you can follow along, and all these things will help with your video content. So I've been doing freelance video production since 2012 here in South Dakota. I also have a personal YouTube channel other than the Video Lab. And if you search Caleb Hoover in YouTube, my channel will probably pop up. I started uploading video content during the pandemic about the cameras that I use. So these cameras right here. And I've grown to around 23,000 subscribers. But does sub count on YouTube matter anymore? We'll find out coming up in our chat with Emily. Now, I do want to toss this in. I have a link down in the description that if you're interested in learning more about how to grow on YouTube for your business or brand, check out this link in the description. It's my free online YouTube workshop that you can go through on your own time. You don't have to schedule the time with me, like go through it on your own time. All you need to do to access it is create a free profile in the Video Lab community. So go down, check out that link in the description, and it will explain more on how to access that free online YouTube workshop. So I started this live stream. The Video Lab live show is a mostly weekly interactive live show streaming on Facebook, YouTube, and LinkedIn to help you harness the power of online video with video-specific marketing tips, tricks, and trends. And I really hope this show brings some value to you and provides some things that you can incorporate into your video workflow, like this afternoon, like right after this episode, you can go and incorporate these things into your video workflow. Now, if you're just joining the stream, I've got Emily, full-time YouTuber from the UK, on the show today, talking about the YouTube platform and how it might be the best platform to be on if you're trying to grow an audience. Toss your questions about YouTube in the chat or comments, and we'll be answering those live during the show. So let's see right here, Matt from Sioux Falls. Welcome to the live stream. If you're just joining us, jump into the chat, say hi, let me know where you're watching from. Matt, so glad that you're here. Now, I do have a little disclaimer before we get into the conversation. These episodes are just to show some possibilities that you have with video, but doesn't necessarily mean everything is going to work like magic for you. It requires a ton of hard work. I'm tripping over my words here. It requires a ton of hard work, consistency, strategy, and possibly even partnering with professionals like Emily or myself to get the results that you hope for. And, with that being said, how about you toss some clap hand emojis into the chat? And I'm going to bring in Emily from the UK. Hi, Emily.
Hello.
How are you?
I'm very well, thank you. Thank you for having me on.
Absolutely. I love your channel. I love the work that you do, and I'm so pumped to be able to talk to you today.
Oh, that's so cool. I'm always up for chatting about YouTube. I think it can be quite a lonely job. So it's always good to chat to other people in the industry.
Love it. So, as a good Midwestern in the United States, we like talking about weather. What's the weather like in the UK right now?
Awful. Cold, windy, grey.
Really?
Goes
Oh.
goes dark stupidly early. I hate it.
Now, you're also a raging Seattle Seahawks fan. Tell
I
us a little bit
am.
about that. How did you become a Seattle Seahawks fan?
So we watch the Super Bowl in the UK every year, and the year that they won, um, against the Broncos, I was like, "Ooh, that was a fun team. I'll start supporting them." And then I literally started supporting them and watching every game up and the next Super Bowl run when the Patriots won us in the final
Uh,
seconds,
oh,
and it's all been downhill ever since.
yeah, those singing Patriots. I was sending you some hype stuff when the Steelers played the Seahawks earlier this season. That was kind of a little fun back and forth. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah, it was good fun. It was nice chatting to you when the game was on, going, "Oh, you kind of deserve that, yeah."
I was sending some like TJ Watt, gifs of like him going crazy and stuff. Oh man, that was good. Well, you know what, Emily? I know that you are not a coffee drinker because I think when we were in California, I think you gave coffee a try, right? And you're
Yeah,
like, nah, I'm not
yeah.
there. Uh,
Occasionally I will, but
Well,
not. No, I don't dabble.
okay. Well, you're missing out on the Breaks Coffee, who is, sponsoring the segment of the guest intro. And thank you to the Breaks. I just need to toss this QR code up here. And I'm going to put the Absolute Blend up. This is what I'm drinking right now. The breakscoffeeroasting.com. You can go check that out. If you're watching, you can order right from their website. Or if you're local to where I am, you can stop in their shop. They're open Tuesday through Sunday. They're not open today. I can't go after the show, Emily. I cannot do that. But we might have to talk to them about opening up on Monday afternoons or something. I can go right after this show. But anyway, I was brewing Absolute Blend in the office today, and it's fantastic. If you ever get into coffee, I'll bring you some Absolute Blend.
Yeah, maybe I've just not tried the right one yet.
Yeah, that's probably it. That's probably it, Emily. All right. Hey, can you tell us a little bit about your YouTube channel? Like, what is your YouTube channel about?
Yeah, so my channel is called Micro Four Nerds, and if you're not into photography, Micro Four Thirds is a type of camera made by Panasonic and Olympus and a few other brands. And I made the switch from Sony a few years ago to Micro Four Thirds, and I just thought this is such an underrated and exciting thing to be a part of. And there didn't seem to be that much chat about it online, so
Mhm.
I just, without much thought, I thought the name was pretty cool. Microphone nerds. I love a good pun.
Yeah,
I just started.
that's a great name. Great
I
name.
just I just started documenting my journey, and it's sort of grown from there. Really, there's a lot of enthusiastic community that's been built around it, where we have photo contests and
Mm,
share photos, and then it's opened up doors for me to work with different brands and go on different press events. So it really is the best thing I've ever done,
yeah.
without a shadow of a doubt.
Now you said you've gone to some different press events and things like that. What has been your favorite trip so far since you have started your YouTube channel?
Well, it's got to be Tokyo, hasn't it? It's not every day that a brand takes you to Tokyo for a week
Mm.
and wines and dines you and then loans you all this cool camera equipment. But I have to say, though, that was obviously the bougiest one. That was
Yeah,
super
right.
cool. The
Yep.
one that we had last summer, it was in a safari park. So
Oh, so
I
cool.
love wildlife photography myself. So being in the safari park, and it was basically closed just for the press event. So we
Okay,
got to go around in the jeeps and see all the animals and stuff. It was great.
that's amazing. I remember seeing some of your content about that trip, and it was incredible. Was that
Yes.
when you took we're just gonna nerd out on the camera just for a second here. We're not this whole show is not gonna revolve around cameras, which we totally could make it that. But did you use the G9 II on that trip?
I did, yes.
Yeah. Was
Yeah.
that before it was released? Can you say that?
Yeah, so I was lucky enough to do the tutorial videos for Lumix. So I had the camera about 6 weeks before
Okay.
anybody else,
Yeah.
and I even arrived to the UK press event with it in my bag and had
Oh,
to
man.
pretend to get one.
That's awesome.
I was just sweating the whole time. I was like, "Oh my god, this is so exciting."
That's incredible. And you mentioned that Tokyo trip, that was December of 2022, and I was there with you on that trip, and that was incredible
hmm
doing that trip. Okay, I'm going to ask you a question, and I wanna see what your reaction to this is, okay? So I'm gonna say this: YouTube is the perfect platform, the perfect storm of a platform. What do you think about that? What's your reaction to that?
I totally agree. I think it's sort of we've got to play the game if you're on social media and you try all the different platforms available.
Yeah.
And YouTube is the only one that gives you longevity, I think.
Mm,
I think there's videos from 4 years ago that still get hundreds of views a month. Sometimes the odd one will pop off.
yeah.
And, it's nice to know that it's not just wasted effort.
Mm,
Sometimes if you're uploading particularly like short form content, it feels like 2 days later it may as well never have existed. But on YouTube, I do think it's the perfect way to get your brand or whatever it is you're about out there for a long period of time.
yeah, I love that. Now, I know that you, put some content on Instagram and things like that as well, and this kinda goes along with what you were saying, but, like, what have you seen the difference between posting some content on Instagram compared to YouTube? What's the difference?
Yeah, so I feel like Instagram and even like Twitter and TikTok and things like that, as soon as you stop feeding the machine, it stops helping you.
Mm,
Whereas with YouTube, you can take a week off, you can take a month off. I think if I stepped away from my platform, I would still probably get AdSense for the next 2 or 3 years, even
yeah, right?
before it even drops down. So obviously things will diminish if you don't keep up, but you can step away from it and the content still has value.
Amazing. That's why it's not working for me on Instagram. It's because I don't keep uploading. Oh,
No,
man.
same. I have 30-day challenges where I'm like, yes, I'm going to do it. And then I
Yeah.
stop. And then all the hard work goes away.
Oh, yeah, 100%. I totally agree with that. Alright, so you agree, and you kind of go along with this, like, it's kind of like the perfect storm of a platform, and there's a couple reasons that I go through in my YouTube workshop, honestly, that I think reasons why. It's fully search engine, number 1, right? Can you tell us a little bit about, like, search content on YouTube? Like, how does that kinda play with, like, uploading content to YouTube, that search piece of it?
Oh, it's so invaluable. Like if you make a video now, say we've reviewed a camera, for example,
Yep.
you will us creators will stress about the first week's worth of views.
Mhm.
But really that's not what it's about at all. The point is you've made something that will last, that is valuable, that people can search and find. They can find through Google, they can find through YouTube, and it could be serving you and growing in views for months and months and months, if not years.
Mhm. I love that. Now, if you have any questions about the YouTube platform, make sure you toss those in the chat. We'd love to answer those live here on the show. Now, the second piece that I go over in my YouTube workshop is like, so it's first, right? Fully search engine. Second, it's like fully community driven. So it's like these little pockets of community. Like we're kind of in the same, camera niche community, that type of thing. There's like woodworking community, there's like guitar community, all those things. Can you just speak into a little bit like the community aspect of YouTube and what have you found there?
I think it's great. So I have a regular set of maybe 20 or 30 people that comment in the first day on every single
Yeah.
video that I do. And it's like they're my pen pals or my little friends, and I'm always replying.
Yeah.
And I have actually, I've followed people back on Instagram and we have chats about certain things. If I go into your channel, for instance, and leave a comment, people will see my name and
Mhm.
reply, and
Yep,
vice versa if you come to mine.
absolutely.
I think, you know, it is a place where you can make a name for yourself. And
Mm,
what I really like about it is also personality driven as well as
yeah,
skills. It's
yeah,
not necessarily the best photographer or the best guitarist or whatever on
yeah,
YouTube that has the biggest following. It's people that can be personable and
mm,
offer value. So it's a level playing field in some ways, I
yeah.
think.
Yeah, I love that piece of, like, just offering value. I mean, that's really what it comes down to is, like, people are looking for answers in a lot of stuff, and, we could get into, like, viral type content. It's kind of like a different animal, but, like, education, information, style-based content, like, people are looking for answers, and if you can provide those answers, like, they're gonna watch your content. Okay, so it's fully search engine, fully community driven, and then the other aspect I have to that from my workshop is it's fully video. Unlike a lot of the other platforms, and yes, YouTube does have this community wall, which is great, by the way, community wall where you can post some pictures and things like that, but overall, it's like it's all video. And I think
Yeah.
that's what makes it so much different than like Facebook or Instagram.
Totally, and I think it's long form video as well. That's
Mm.
the big important thing. Like, there's new statistics showing that YouTube is now being watched like 40% on televisions, for
Oh,
instance,
yeah.
and people are using it as their evening entertainment as opposed to like Netflix and stuff.
Mm.
So yeah, I think video first, not convoluting things with your stories and your photos and things, just video. That's all you
Yeah.
need.
Yeah. Now, in your opinion, how important is subscriber count?
So for social clout, I suppose it's a
Yeah.
nice number to have, but since signing with my agent for my YouTube channel, I've realized that the biggest thing that really helps is having a consistent viewership.
Gotcha.
So if you are dealing with sponsorships, for instance, they'll take the last 10 videos, they'll remove the lowest performing and the highest performing and give you an average viewership,
Yeah.
and then that's usually what they tend to base the pricing on.
Okay.
So you could have as many subscribers as you like, but
Right.
if you don't have the views to back it up,
Hmm.
it's not as important, I don't think.
So
What
that
do you
viewer
think?
Yeah, well, yeah, I have some thoughts on it. I
Mm,
think, like, a subscriber count is something to watch because, like, it shows whether or not people are kind of, like, um, relating to your content, I think. Like, is it as that it doesn't necessarily mean all of that, but if, like, they're willing to hit that subscribe button, I feel like it's a little bit of an investment in their part, right? It's like, okay, I'm on board with what's going on here on this channel. And so that's one of the things I like about that subscriber count, but at the same time, it's not everything. And just think of like those viewers that you have on your videos. Like if you have 50 views, that's like a full room of people that you have their attention. If you have 250 views, that's almost like a convention style room, right? If you
yeah,
have like 10,000 views on your channel, like that's incredible because that's like think of how many people like a small like auditorium or um uh convention center. I don't know why I only have convention center in my brain right now, but like an auditorium. If you have 100,000 views on a video, that's like a big stadium of that you have their attention. So like I love that view piece of it. And if you're getting views on your videos, like you have people's attention, right?
yeah, that's the real currency, isn't it? People's attention, people's eyeballs, people's
Yeah.
clicks. Yeah.
Now there's a lot that goes into that that I think that you could spend a lot of time on that. Can you speak into like the packaging of your videos? Like when it actually comes down to it, how important is that packaging piece of it to get people to actually watch your videos? Can you kind of like what are some key elements that go into that packaging?
I think it's the most vital part. I mean, obviously, you need to have a good video to back up
Yeah.
the click,
Right.
But one of the things that really turned my channel around was I was very much make the video I want to make, think about the title 5 minutes before I press publish, use a screen grab of whatever's in the video as the thumbnail,
Yep.
and I'd have a few crazy loyal people that would still watch me, but it was nothing, it stagnated for a long time. Whereas now it's like you've got to, for your own sanity,
Mm,
think about the title. Is it clickable? Is it a broad enough topic? Is the thumbnail eye catching? Does it work well with the title?
mm,
Because you could put a week's worth of effort into a video, and if you haven't got that bit right, it's going to be all for nothing. I do think it has become a lot more saturated now, so you do have to earn the click a little bit more than we
mm.
did back in the day.
Yeah, right.
But yeah, it's vitally important.
Hmm. That thumbnail. So like when people see or like scrolling through, either on their phone or like you said on the TV now, like where they're watching on the TV or on the desktop or whatever, it's like is that thumbnail, is that going to get them to stop once they see that topic, that title in the thumbnail? Is it enough to get them to stop what they're doing and like click on that video? That's one of the things that I am struggling with most being on YouTube is like that thumbnail piece is like I didn't like you said, I didn't totally realize the full importance of it until like recently. A lot of even just the conversations that we had this past fall in California when we were out there making some content of like it's vital when it comes down to it that thumbnail, title, and topic. Was there like a was there kind of a moment in your YouTube journey where things kind of like shifted for you a little bit? Like, it's like, oh, you know what? I think this is going in the direction where I'm not going to have to work another job. I can just like focus in on my YouTube content. Is there a
Yeah.
moment like that for you?
Yeah, so getting my average views up, just long term trying to just improve one thing at a time as I went along, led to me doing this video that went a little bit viral. It's got like 250,000 views so far, which
Sweet.
is really good. And it was just me, ironically, not wanting to leave my house. And I did a video about my favorite camera that I take out with me and why I think it's such a good everyday carry. And this sort of concept of tiny cameras and everyday carry added a whole new pillar of content onto my
Mm,
channel. And now it's become this entire series that's sponsored by a company that buys and sells cameras.
amazing.
And I get sent cameras for this series. And it's just, from that point on, it sort of 10x'd my average views,
Yeah.
which is more valuable than any single viral video,
Mhm.
and earned me a broader appeal, I think, because Micro Four Thirds is a niche within a niche,
Yes.
whereas small cameras is something that a lot of people would be interested in. So it
Yeah.
opened up my channel a little bit.
Yeah, because that it's like a little bit broader. It's still like what we were talking about, still within the realm of what you started your channel around, but then it's just a little bit just goes a little bit broader, right?
Yeah.
What's the importance like that very like let's talk to somebody that's just starting a channel. Like what would you say to them as far as like we hear a lot about like niching down or niching down or like being very specific with your content. What can you speak into that a little bit? Like what advice would you give to somebody that's just starting their channel and maybe thinking about like, "Oh, do I need to niche down?"
So I think you need to be very clear about your broader niche. So, for instance, mine would be photography, and yours would be videography or
Mhm.
filmmaking. But then there's so many sub categories within that. I think you do need to niche down a little bit so that you don't confuse the audience. But I think because YouTube works on recommended videos now a heck of a lot more than search based content, you do have to have a broad enough appeal to get those clicks. I think if you
Mm,
niche down too much, then YouTube can only show it to so many people because there's a
yeah,
ceiling to how many
right.
people are interested in it.
Yeah.
So less important than it was.
Yeah, and I'm starting to discover that a little bit with my channel as well. Like there's I can only go so far with, making the same like video settings every, every so often. But like now it's time to like just broaden my horizons a little bit when it comes to um, the content that I make. Um, Matt asked here, what are what are you using to create thumbnails? So when you're making your thumbnails, Emily, what are you using to create those thumbnails?
So the software that I use is Photoshop, but I think that's just because I'm in sort of the photography niche and I'm a bit of
Right.
a nerd when it comes to that. I've seen a lot of people that are less photo editing skilled use like Canva and things like that. There's
Yeah.
loads of great free options and cloud-based options now.
Mm.
But I do I use Photoshop personally.
Yeah, and Canva has a lot of like templates too, right? So
Hmm.
you can actually go and just use one of their templates as your thumbnail and just like fill in your information that you need on that thumbnail. When it comes to the thumbnail, do you have any advice for people that, they're trying to make thumbnails better? What kind of advice would you give them?
Yeah, so it is an art form in and of itself. I think when you start a YouTube channel, you realize that you need to be pretty proficient in a lot of different things.
Mm,
And the thing about thumbnails is you have to be very concise. I think no more than three things, and sometimes even only two things in the thumbnail, and that's enough because you need people to be able to see it in like 2 seconds and
yeah.
know exactly what's going on.
Mm,
So for me, for an example, it might be me holding a camera, or it could be some text and the camera, or it could be an example of a photograph taken with a camera. It needs to be very concise, and even simple things like shooting on a clean backdrop, not
yeah.
having people behind you if you're taking
Mm,
photographs outside, keeping things brighter rather than darker as well, because I think 80% of YouTuber viewers watch in dark mode. So if you
mm.
have a dark thumbnail on a dark background, you're not going to stand out.
Yeah, it's not gonna pop, huh?
Hmm.
Interesting. I like that note about like a cleaner background because I think a lot of times it can get pretty busy, and if there's like too much going on, then it's kind of like hard to like make out what's in that thumbnail.
Yeah.
But yeah, that Canva, I mean, it's like super easy to make thumbnails
Yeah,
on
it's
Canva.
so easy. And just once you've made a couple, I do recommend making a couple per video because
Mm,
you very rarely end up with the first thumbnail being the best one.
right.
Put it tiny on your screen or put it on your phone and shrink it down
Mm,
and just see if you can figure out what's going on and if it tells the story of the video without having to stop and look too much.
yeah, interesting. Yeah,
Yeah.
test it out. And it's okay to like change your thumbnail. Like if you find like, oh, maybe this one's not working. Maybe you're kind of looking at the click through rate on your video. If it's not working, it's okay. Like you can change that at any point.
Hmm.
So
I
I just changed a thumbnail on one of mine like a day after I released a video. So
Yeah, I had a video when we were in LA actually, and it was a 10 out of 10, which in YouTube language means it's the 10th worst video I've put out of the last 10. So it's not good. You want a 1 out of 10. And I thought, oh my God, that's terrible. I worked really hard. I went out in the rain and
mm,
filmed for it. And
yeah.
about a month afterwards, I changed the thumbnail, and it was a matter of I was being quite lazy, and I had a very busy background because
Mhm.
I was not at home when I made the original thumbnail, and I just did it on a white backdrop, kept essentially the same idea, and
Yep.
it went from being a 10 out of 10 to I think it's like a 2 out of 10. It's got like
Oh,
55,000 extra views since I changed the thumbnail.
crazy. Yeah.
It's so good. It's so good.
Did you just change the thumbnail or did you change the title too?
I think I kept the original title, even it was
Yeah,
just a thumbnail
just the
change.
thumbnail change. It
Yeah,
created that big of a difference.
yeah.
That's incredible. Oh man, that's encouraging, honestly.
I mean,
Honestly.
sometimes it doesn't happen. Sometimes
Yeah,
you can change things and you've just not got the right topic and it just won't work.
yeah,
But I
and then you
often,
just gotta move on, right? You
yeah,
just gotta move on from that.
sometimes you've just got to move on. But
Yeah,
sometimes a little bit of tinkering, even a month later, even 2 months later, can really help.
yeah. All right, before we, keep going with our conversation, I just wanted to toss this in. This is the Video Lab Video Playbook, which is a free download that you can go and download, use this video playbook to help make your own video content. So it's just a guide to help you enhance your web presence with video. Here's the table of contents, a ton of different things in here, especially like, some very niche topics and helping out with those: real estate niche, fitness. Here's how you can collaborate with other people, like what I'm doing with Emily right now, collaborating and making a long form video like this that I will cut up and make into shorts, right? The power of storytelling. So go download this video playbook. It's here to help you make your own video content. The link's down in the description. It's free. Just toss your email in there and download the video playbook. It's a great resource. All right. Where'd you go, Emily? Where'd you go? There you are. I'm like trying to manage all these cameras and everything.
You do so well. I'm so afraid of live streaming. I could
Oh
not
man.
be doing this. Oh no. Oh no.
Live streaming's pretty fun, which is actually, a great feature on YouTube is the live stream feature. Um, One of the things I really like about it, I'm just gonna like go off on live streaming here real quick. Like it really gives like almost like a behind the scenes authentic look into like how you kind of manage things as well. You know what I mean? So it's like first of all, it's great for collaboration, like what we're doing right here. And then second, it's just like a great way to interact with people as well. And they kind of get to see like almost like a authentic side of you. And then if things start going wrong, like how do you react to those problems and things like that? That's a couple
Panic.
things. Yeah, panic. That's a couple things I like about live streaming, which is a great, and YouTube makes it super easy to live stream right on their platform. Okay, let's keep going with this conversation. Now let's see, what is it? How many billions of views a day does YouTube get? Now, as we kind of think about like navigating this landscape of YouTube, um, and remember those little pockets of community. How do we stand out in some of those things? Like that, I know this is kind of a loaded question, but like how do we stand out within the competitive nature or landscape of YouTube? Do you have anything to say about that?
I do. This is something I'm quite passionate about because
Let's go.
my niche in particular is quite male dominated.
Yeah.
Like when we went to Tokyo, there was a
Mhm.
room of 85 influencers and only 3 of them were women.
Oh man.
Yeah, mad. Um, so I think it's all about using what people refer to as your unfair advantage.
Yes.
So for me, I think I'm quite okay on camera, and I have a weird personality, and I'm a woman in a man's space. So my unfair advantage is stick my face in the thumbnail, and I'll stand out
Mm,
from the rest.
yeah.
But whatever your strengths may be, like if you're very very techie or you're very good at teaching, you've got some comedic sort of
Mm.
skills. I think you've got to try and be the best version of yourself rather than emulate anybody else.
I love that. And that unfair advantage. I go over that in my YouTube workshop, by the way.
Hey.
Hey, and go down to the link and make sure you go through that workshop if you're watching. But that unfair advantage, it could be a skill, right? It could be personality, like you said, personality driven videos. Like that's part of YouTube. It can be. Do you consider yourself an introvert or an extrovert? Like, do we have to be an extrovert to make YouTube videos?
What is funny is when I started my channel, I was the biggest introvert you would ever meet. And since doing this, I don't know if it's because I have to watch myself on camera so much,
Yeah,
I've actually just completely flipped and just become a heck of a lot more extroverted.
love
So
it.
I think it can work both ways. And the thing that, when I was more introverted, the thing that got me through it was you can always delete it.
Yeah.
You know,
Mm,
I must have deleted about 10 versions of my first video before I had the courage to do it.
nice.
So just use it as a confidence exercise if that's what gets you to press record.
Yeah. Do you
And
f
then
you so you feel, like, more confident as a person in general since you
one
started making YouTube videos?
100%,
Love it.
being able to, go into a room and speak to people and network, and I wouldn't even go to sort of the shop and buy
Yeah.
my own chocolate bar. I'd ask somebody else to do it for me. I was so shy.
Oh, man, that is quite the difference then. Sending somebody to go get a chocolate bar, now you go get the chocolate bar.
Now I get the chocolate bar. Now someone sends it me for free.
Yeah, that's amazing. I kind of have that same feeling. Like I wasn't necessarily like super introverted, but I had some like extrovert tendencies, I guess you could say. But like making video content, my own video content has like really, I feel like I've flourished a lot in that regard since I started making, like, especially since the pandemic time, making my own video content. It's crazy.
Yeah, it has such a positive impact. I've seen that so much with so many people that we
Yeah.
talk about, what
Hmm.
talk to. Definitely.
Now, there's a few like analytic things with YouTube that, I feel like you could really get um overwhelmed with analytics when it comes to YouTube. Are there just some analytics or data that you watch kind of, I don't know, loosely or
Yeah.
maybe a little bit more in depth? Like
I
what's kind of your strategy when it comes to like YouTube analytics and optimizing content, things like that?
so I used to be a lot more into it than I am now because I realized it became a bit of a procrastination tool for me. And sometimes the numbers can confuse you in many
Mm,
different ways.
yeah.
So there's only a few things that I look at now, primarily views, because if I've got and the split between returning viewers and new viewers as well, it's usually about 50-50 if your channel's healthy because you're bringing in new people and you're establishing an existing audience.
Yeah.
But one thing that I try to do with my videos is to create sort of like a bank of videos. So at the end of my videos, I'll be like, watch this video next to learn
Yeah.
X.
Yep.
So one analytic that I do look at is like click through rate on my end screens
Gotcha.
because YouTube loves viewer sessions. So if you can
Yeah.
make a series of videos and get someone binge watch them,
Mm.
YouTube will love you.
Yeah. Yeah,
Yeah,
I mean, that's really what it comes down to is that,
yeah,
like, viewer retention on the platform, if, like, you can keep them there a long time, like, you're gonna be on the good side of the YouTube
yeah.
algorithm, let's just put it that way. I think, like, that retention piece and even, like, that first 30 seconds, right? Like, if you can get people to stay longer than that first 30 seconds, if you have, like, a long form video and get people to stay longer than 30 seconds, you've won half the battle, I feel like,
Hmm.
with that.
Yeah.
And that's where like that hook comes in. I spent a lot of time last week talking with Cooper on this show about the hooks to your videos and how important when it comes down to it is that hook for YouTube videos that you found.
So important. I think a lot of people, particularly beginners, and I'm very, very guilty of it in the past, is you'll feel the need to have an intro. And you might
Yeah.
be like, "Hi, I'm Emily. I'm a photographer. Here's what we're talking about today." But if people have seen the title and thumbnail, they know what the video's about. Just jump
Right.
straight in.
Yeah.
Like if you're not into the payoff or the nuts and bolts of it within 20 seconds, you
Yeah.
should chop some stuff out.
Yeah. No, and I've had that discussion so many times with people is like, they'll have like this logo reveal at the beginning of their video and they'll like go into like 30 seconds of just talking about who they are and that type of thing. And this is one thing I found with my own YouTube content is that like just get into it.
Hmm.
Just like
Yeah.
right off the bat, have a couple sentences at the beginning that hook people in, but then just get into what you're going to talk about because people's attention spans, they don't wanna see your logo flash by, like, they don't care, right?
No, I think it's a balancing act between giving people exactly what they want as quickly as they want, but also keeping them engaged long enough so they don't just get it and run.
Yeah.
It is a
Yep.
balancing act. Like for instance, if I'm doing like a lens review, you must have had
Mm.
this where they want to see the test footage straight away,
Yep.
but you want to talk about things and your experience with it and sort of make a longer video out of it. So
Yeah,
it's dripping it through. There is an art form to it, and
totally.
nobody gets it right all the time.
Oh, no, no, not at all. That's where, like, if it is, like, a lens review or something, I'll put some, like, quick shots right in the beginning, right?
Hmm.
"Oh, here's a little taste," you might
Yeah.
wanna stick around to see some actual footage, that type of thing.
Here is a YouTube hill I will die on. In over 200 videos, I've never asked anyone to subscribe.
What? No
No,
way.
I think people know how YouTube works. They'll
Yeah.
subscribe if they want. It's just a waste of in my opinion.
Oh, hot take. Emily with the hot take, dropping the mic. Look at that. Wait, can you repeat what you just said? I wanna hear that again.
So I've done over 200 videos, and
Okay.
to my knowledge, I've never stopped a video and said subscribe. I've never asked anyone to subscribe ever. I just think if they like the value and they want to watch more, they'll just subscribe anyway.
They'll do it. I
Yeah.
think we're at a point on the YouTube platform where people know how it works, right?
Mhm.
Yes.
Yeah.
Like what you said. I still say I still ask for people to subscribe.
But here's a
So
question.
that's
Do you do it before the value or after the value? Because if you do it at the end, you're like, if you found that valuable, subscribe.
I
Amazing. If you do it
yeah.
before, you're just slowing it down.
Yeah, I do it before. So I'm gonna do it at the end,
Add
Emily.
the value, then ask.
I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna see
Mhm.
how that plays.
Yep.
See, I'm already learning so much from this from our conversation. Oh, man. Okay, so here's the normal layout of my video, right? So I'll try to do a hook, and then I'll try to, like, foreshadow, like, what's happening in the video so people kinda know. And then I go into, like, this little, um, credibility stage, right? Where I'm just like, "Oh, this is who I am, and this is why you should watch," basically. And then I say, "If that's something you're interested in, hit that subscribe button." Are you saying that I shouldn't do that?
Chop that out. All that.
Oh,
People know you. People
that's
know
so
you've got
freeing.
20,000 subscribers. People know you've got high end stuff. People know your quality is amazing. Your the quality of video and the way that you're on camera should speak to your credibility.
I love that.
Or just add it in conversation. You know, like I say, you
Yeah.
know, I was a photography tutor, and this is my experience doing this. You know,
Mm,
you don't have to sort of do it as an intro. Chop it out. Be
love it.
ruthless.
Love it. Okay, I will. Next few videos, I'm gonna give that a shot, Emily. All right. Now, I feel like there's probably some, like, common pitfalls that we fall into every once in a while we, like, and maybe that intro part is part of that. But, like, what are some, like, common pitfalls or challenges that, maybe some aspiring YouTubers face when trying to grow their business or their influence on the platform? Like, let's say somebody that's watching is looking to get on YouTube and try to grow their business. What are some, like, challenges that they might face, like, right off the bat?
I think knowing your sort of niche is very very important, and you've got to, the way I think about it is if someone clicks on your channel, they should be able to see straight away who you are, what you're about, what your videos are about.
Mm,
And then as long as you're within that niche, you can experiment a lot more than people think. I think sometimes, like, newer YouTubers will want to do sort of very very similar content, very narrow content, and just experiment and see what YouTube throws out there. And
yeah.
it could open up your channel a lot faster with a bit more
Mm.
experimentation. You won't get put in YouTube jail if a video tanks, but it
Yeah,
could change everything if you
yeah.
do take a risk and it works.
You're not gonna get shadow banned for talking about something else?
No, definitely not.
Yeah. Silverlight Photo says, and this is in regards to that subscribe conversation that we just had. I subscribe specifically because you said you do Lumix content. Okay,
Fair
so
enough.
fair enough. Yeah,
Yeah. But then the topic would be Lumix based anyway. You wouldn't need someone to tell you.
right.
But
Yep.
yeah, I get it.
I'm
I
still
get
gonna
it.
give it a shot. I'm still gonna give it a shot. If nothing else, like putting it towards the end, like, oh,
Yeah.
maybe you found some value in this, or make it a little bit more conversational,
Yeah.
that type of thing, like you were saying.
And as well, if you are new, if it's like your first video, it would do well to explain what your authority is.
Yeah,
Just you as an example who's already built an audience in that niche.
right.
You don't need to do it every time, in my opinion. But, you know, it's different opinions to different niches, different
Yeah.
people.
Now, do you so there's like this option to put like a channel trailer on your channel. Do you have a channel trailer?
Never done it.
Yeah. I don't
No,
have one either.
I'd rather I've got a playlist on my channel that says here is a good place to start, and
Gotcha.
I'd rather someone click on one of my most popular videos
Yeah.
and figure out who I am that way than me being like, "Hi, I'm Emily.
Well,
Watch
and
this
they're
video."
yeah, and they're probably more likely to binge more of your content as well, right?
Exactly.
Like,
Yeah.
rather than just this channel trailer. And I mean, and if you feel the need, like if you're just getting started, feel the need to kind of explain like what you're doing, it might be a good way to do that. But maybe it's like putting your most popular video at the top and just having that play where people can go. Like I
Definitely.
experimented a little bit with that of having a channel trailer, and it just didn't feel right for me. I was like almost like just go watch a video that's on there and then maybe you'll watch more. You know what I mean?
Exactly. Yeah, and I think having a popular video that you recommend straight away is more social proof as well, because
Yeah.
they can automatically get involved in the comments and see
Mm,
what the community's about. So yeah, I'm not team channel trailer. I'm sure some channels will do it effectively and it will work
right.
for certain niches, but it's not something that I've ever seen much value in personally.
And if it's one of your, like, most popular videos on your channel, there's a reason it was probably, like there was a reason why it was probably the most popular, and so, like, that would be a good opportunity to maybe double down on some of that content that
Exactly.
is popular.
Yeah.
Have you noticed that? Is that something that you practice of, like, "Oh, this video hit, so I'm gonna, like, double down on that."
Oh, 100%. That's the game that we're playing. As long
Yeah.
as that's within your niche, as
Yep.
soon as you get something that runs, I'm not saying like rush something out, but think, okay, this worked. What made it work? Let's try it again and again and again.
Yeah.
That's how, when one of my tiny camera videos got popular, I turned it into a full series. And now they've all done pretty well because they've hit that similar audience. And if you're not aware about those things, I could have just ignored that and
Mm.
lost all of those potential views.
Right. Yeah. I love it. All right, let's talk a little bit about your particular journey. And I know we
Mhm.
had a little bit, but let's talk a little bit more about like those specific success stories or milestones that you've kind of achieved on your YouTube journey. Can you just walk us through? I think this might be a good way to like just kind of wrap some stuff up, you know? Like what is before your one thing,
Mhm.
because we got to get to your one thing, which
Yeah.
is going to be epic. But just share some like success stories or milestones that you've kind of gone through with your YouTube journey.
Yeah, so I definitely took the long route. It wasn't that I had a channel and immediately went viral.
Mm,
And I
mhm.
do think if I could choose, I would do it my way because you learn so much more if you've
Yeah.
got more room to grow and more videos under your belt. I started getting gifted content for reviews, which was very exciting after a couple of months.
Yeah.
And then I sent to sort of press events for new camera launches and things, which is a lovely feeling. But the biggest change for me was I'm personally not great at like the money side of things. I'm
Mm,
just stick me in front of the camera and I'll just chat.
yeah.
So I was approached by an agency about 10 months ago, and I signed with my agent Priscilla. She's amazing,
I love it.
and now she fields my inbox, and
Mm,
she also branches out to brands like the usual suspects, Squarespace,
yep.
Skillshare, things like
Yep.
that. And the biggest sort of my favorite deal was I actually had a video sponsored by YouTube.
Wow.
Yeah, so
I
they do
remember
it.
that video.
Yeah, so they have a European campaign, sort of. It means more on YouTube, I think the
Yeah.
slogan was, and they asked me to
Mhm.
do a dedicated video. And they've since come back to
Amazing.
me and bought the footage to include
Oh,
in an advert, which is quite
yeah.
cool, and also possibly licensed my silly face for a billboard campaign in the
No
UK.
way. Let's go, Emily.
Who knows if it'll actually go? Nobody
Yeah.
knows. But the idea that I could be sort of within those people in Europe that looks like I'm doing all right on
Yeah.
YouTube. I was well impressed.
You're gonna be the face of YouTube in Europe?
A face of YouTube. There's about 60
Oh.
people on the campaign. I'll be about this big at the
Hey,
bottom of the billboard, but I'm
I
still
love it.
counting it. I'm still
Yeah.
counting it.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
I remember when you did that video, that YouTube-based video, sponsored by YouTube.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, that's incredible. Absolutely incredible. Congratulations.
Thank you. I was
Yeah,
so happy. And all they wanted me to do was chat about my journey on YouTube. So I'm like,
yeah.
oh, this is the easiest job ever. Thank you.
That's like that's like almost as great as being on this live stream talking about YouTube. No, I'm just joking. No, that, like, totally blows this thing out of the water. That's amazing. Any big projects that you have coming up that you're working on?
Yeah, so talking about taking experiments and trying to broaden your niche a little bit. My
Yeah.
next venture is dabbling in some film photography, and
Yes.
I've just been in contact with some companies to partner up. to learn how to develop my own negatives at home
No
because I'm a
way.
cheapskate and I
Yeah,
don't
yeah.
want to be paying
Yeah,
10,
yeah.
15 pounds a roll. So I'm going to do a film camera series and document my journey. And it's one of those things, it could absolutely take off and then I
Mhm,
could do another pillar of content.
mhm.
Or it could just be something that was a passion project of mine and then I stay back in my lane. But you've got to do it to keep things creative and
Yes.
potentially branching out, I think.
Now, the darkroom photography class in college was my favorite class that I took. You know what, Emily, I'm gonna tell you this. Not a lot of people know this, but I was a psychology major, and I
Cool.
graduated with a psychology degree from college, from university, and but my favorite class was the darkroom photography class. Oh, man. So, like, working with those chemicals, and I can still smell it right now. But working with those chemicals and, watching that image come to life, which was really cool because I used my dad's camera that he bought in, like, the early '80s that and, obviously film, and, like, he traveled around the world with it, and my grandpa's camera, and I've got a shelf, you can't see it here, but I got a shelf with some of these cameras on there. But, that is so cool, and I'm so excited to watch some of those videos because you're gonna kill it on those.
Oh, I hope so. It's something I'm excited to try, so I hope it goes
Yeah.
well. But you've got to roll the dice with YouTube and hope for the best.
Now, do you have a dark room that you're setting up?
Well, sort of not a dark room because my house is too small, but I have a
Yep.
dark tent,
Gotcha. Yep.
so you can put your hands in and do it
Yes.
all in the tent.
Is there a little window that you can look through?
No, no,
Oh,
you've got to do it all blind. So I'm going to
oh,
practice with some expired film, I think.
yeah. Nice. Well, Emily, this has been a great conversation. Now, I think is time for your one thing. So if like somebody's watching this, this live stream is going to live on these platforms that we're streaming to. So LinkedIn, Facebook, and YouTube. It's going to live there. So people will go back, they'll watch it, right? If they don't get anything else from this whole conversation, what's one thing that you would want them to take away from our whole conversation?
So I think the most underrated part of content creation is that people don't dedicate enough time to is actually idea generating. I
Mm,
think once you start down this road, you get very full schedules with all the things that you need to learn. And I found the biggest thing that helped me was whenever I wanted to pick up my phone and have a scroll on social media, I would instead open a notes app on my phone, and the header was no bad ideas,
love it.
and I would just spend 5 minutes on the train, 10 minutes when I'm waiting for tea to cook, and
Mhm.
just put down any thoughts I had that could be potential video ideas.
Mm,
And 80% of them might be terrible, but it's time better spent and you're thinking about your channel and your business and making the most of the little pockets of time through the day. So I think that's something that's really helped me personally.
that's amazing. Just having an idea dump page,
Hmm.
basically, where you can just put them all on there. No
Yeah.
bad ideas.
No bad ideas because you have such a pressure. You've got to think of the perfect idea and the
Yeah,
perfect hook and the perfect title. The more pressure you put on yourself, the more sort of creatively blocked you become. So
yeah.
I just think put loads of ideas down and just read through and see what sticks.
Well, I love that too because, like, those ideas can evolve too, right? Like, you might have an initial idea, but then, like, all of a sudden that idea, like, leads to this, which is still the same idea, but it's like the idea for a video.
Exactly.
You know
Yeah.
what I mean?
Yeah.
That's so
And
good.
you would never have got there if you'd have opened your phone and gone on Instagram for
Yeah.
5 minutes.
Yeah, you would just feel bad about yourself of how you're not making content.
Exactly.
The more you scroll, the more bad you feel. Oh, man. That is so good. Well, Emily, this has been a great conversation. So informative within, like, an hour. And
Oh, awesome.
so I just love what you're doing on YouTube and, keep crushing it. Keep
I
crushing it.
shall I shall do my best.
Yeah. All right. Well, any last parting thoughts as before I take you off screen? I don't want you
I,
to leave, but I am gonna take you off screen, okay?
yeah.
We
I'll
need to
just
chat a little
say,
bit afterwards.
you know, as with anything creative, get out of the one day maybe step as quick
Mm,
as you blooming can.
yeah,
Just start. Don't worry about branding and colors and fonts and display pictures.
yeah,
Do the thing that matters, and that's turning on the camera and getting better at sort of communicating to the camera.
yeah.
And just start. It doesn't matter if nobody sees your first 5 videos,
which they
you know?
probably won't,
They probably
and that's
won't.
fine.
No, and then, you've got that experience under your belt to do better next time, and that's all that we can hope as creatives, to just
Yeah.
keep getting a little bit better every time.
Yeah, and that's one of the things, like, I'm gonna keep referencing my workshop, right? That's one of the things I talk about in there. It's like, improve one thing each time. Each new video, just improve one thing, like one simple thing. Maybe it's a better hook. Maybe it's a better foreshadow. Maybe it's a better outro. That's not really an outro. There's a little tease, but that's so good. Well, Emily, like I said, don't go anywhere because I want to chat after I end the stream. But I just have like some things I need to wrap up here on this stream before we get too far. So anyway, thanks so much for being here, Emily, and I'll see you in just a second. Okay.
Awesome, thank you.
All right. Oh man, that was such a great conversation. Now, here's the thing. The next episode is not for 2 weeks. April 8th is the next episode. That might actually be 3 weeks. April 8th. So no episode next week, no episode the week after, but then that following Monday, April 8th, I have Sarah Kurtenbach on the show, and we're going to be talking about actually creating courses and how courses can be a major benefit to you as a business owner, and how that can really grow your influence and get the word out, create awareness, all those things. Free courses, paid courses, all those things. She's doing a great job with her organization, Move Her Money, which helps like college-aged females just be better with their finances. So make sure you check that out. April 8th at noon, we'll be live again. So no episodes next couple of weeks. But remember that this, like I said earlier, this live stream will live on these platforms, and I will have reels from this live stream as well. So make sure you follow all the socials and go download my free video playbook and access that free online YouTube workshop as well. So a couple of things down in the description. Make sure you check those out. Well, it was awesome. Thank you for those who jumped into the chat. Thank you, Emily, again for being on the live stream. We're going to end it there. Have a great